last thing you want to be is labeled as something you're not. We all have the ability to control our emotions, all have the ability to know how to speak to people regardless of what stage and phase we are in. Hi my loves, and welcome back to She Minds. I'm your host Sophia Isabella, and I'm so glad you're here. This is a place where we're able to have open and honest conversations about mental health, healing, and the experiences that shape us as women. Today we're going to be discussing hormones, mood, cycles, and how each of it affects our everyday lives. We're going to slow things down and just take time to make sense of what our bodies and minds are actually doing, without any form of fear, shame, or oversimplified advice. That is because your emotions aren't random, your cycle isn't something to push through, and understanding yourself is a form of care. So whether you're here to learn, feel validated, or to just simply connect the dots between your mind and your body, this episode is for you. Now let's get into today's topic. So first, we're just going to discuss what is a menstrual cycle. A menstrual cycle is the shedding of the uterine line, where hormones are the lowest. This phase is when women are usually on their period. This is when you're shedding of the uterine line, so in simpler terms, that's when you are bleeding. I'm going to try to say it in the most simplest way ever because it may be harder to understand with all the logistical terms, and I'm the type of person that just cuts to the chase. So when you're on your period, when you're bleeding, that is called the menstrual phase. I know that may be common sense to some people, but this is an educational podcast, and I want to make sure that you all know the correct terms to use for your body. As women, I feel like, yes, we are given all these things, these opportunities to have a menstrual cycle and all that stuff, although we may not feel like it. However, it is important to also know the correct terms for it and what to also do to make ourselves feel better. When we're in our menstrual cycle, we have cramps, we feel moody, we have no energy, we don't want to do anything. And I know when I'm on my period especially, I don't even want to get up. Like, I am so over it. Like, I have no type of motivation. I'm literally curled up in a ball. I just want to have my heating pad, have my chips, my chocolate, lay there and watch movies and shows all day. However, it's also about knowing how to navigate that and not fall into like a sunken place just because of your hormones. I feel like as women, we allow our hormones to determine how we act, determine how we go about our lives, especially when we're on our period. But that also isn't giving us the right amount of due diligence or justice for ourselves. And this is because I feel like when it comes to gender stereotypes, especially when it comes to men, because we have our periods and because we are women, we're already labeled as more emotional. We're already labeled as more sensitive. So if we blame things and our mindset on our period, that's just giving them a one up into being like, you know what, yeah, she's a woman, so when she's on her period, she's not going to be performing her best. She's not going to be at her highest version of herself. And we don't want our periods and what we were born with or given to affect the way that we go about our lives, our businesses, our schoolwork, anything. But it's not going to happen overnight. You're not just going to wake up one period and it's not going to hurt. You're not going to just wake up one period and not have cramps. But there are ways to go about it and to make it feel better and to not feel such extreme pain, and to also elevate your mind in the process. Some of those ways are to get more rest, have iron-rich foods such as spinach, lentils, red meat, beans, reduce caffeine if your cramps are bad, warm teas, ginger, chamomile is my favorite, preferably, and journaling and quiet time. Intuition is strengthened when you're on your period. So during this time, you should really write down your thoughts. You should really write down all the things you are feeling and the things you are worried about, the things you're excited about, just everything. Get it all down on that paper. Do little tricks and tools that are going to help you strengthen your mind. Because yes, although you may be physically exhausted because you're on your menstrual cycle, your mind is still working. You just don't want to let your mind fall into that exhaustion as well. That is also one of the problems that I had when I was on my menstrual cycle, because I would get it bad. I know we all get our menstrual cycle differently, but depending on the severity that one gets it, for me personally, I will always get really bad cramps, really bad migraines, and I just had no type of energy at all. I would not want to get up. But what I realized is that in pushing myself a little bit each day and not slacking for those 4 to 5 days I have my period, I'm actually being able to push through and feel more motivated within myself. Because when I work out, when I'm on my period, I feel better about myself. When I sit here and get up and do my business and work on that when I'm on my period, I feel 10 times more powerful. Because it's like in a time where I'm supposed to be supposedly laying down, not doing anything, I decided to get the strength within myself and to get up and do it anyways, which is a big thing. So I feel like celebrating those small wins also come with it and building up your mind while you're on your period. Some ways that you can do that is by journaling, is by doing a word search, is by doing brain teaser games. Just something that you enjoy that's not going to have you just thinking about how sad you are about whatever is going on in your life. Because sadly, that is what the menstrual cycle does. It makes you think about things that you wouldn't usually think about. However, that is your opportunity to really sit there and think about the different aspects of your life and what type of things you want to do to change it. What type of actions you want to do to improve your life. So writing those things down, getting that good amount of rest, drinking more water, not drinking caffeine, doing things that are going to help your body better is preparing you to not only have a good period then, but also moving forward. Because once you already have that habit, moving forward, it'll be 10 times easier to control that pain that you have during your menstrual cycle. Now, I'm not saying that there's going to be no pain at all. I'm not saying that you're automatically going to be pain-free and you're never going to feel any type of pain during your period again. That's not true. That's not the reality. However, you can do things to make it better and prevent it from getting worse. Depending on the person, a period may last from 5 days to a week. For me personally, it usually lasts about 5 to 7 days. But I'm also on a type of birth control to help regulate my period. That's another option that us women have. However, just make sure that you're going over that with your doctor, your primary care physician, and just making sure it's the right fit for you before you go on any type of medication, any type of period, hormone medication, anything like that. Because you always want to do what's safest and healthier for your body. After we go through our menstrual cycle, we have our little cramps, we have our little attitude, or whatever the case may be. We then go into a phase known as the follicular phase. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. I've been trying to say that all day, but just go with it. So that phase usually lasts from 6 to 13 days of the month. So let's say you get your period first day of the month. You have, boom, day 1 through 5. January 1st to January 5th. Right there, that's your period. It might last a little extra day or two. So around day 6 to day 13 or day 7 to day 14, that's your follicular phase. So let's get into what is a follicular phase. The follicular phase is when estrogen rises and energy returns. You start to have a clear head, your motivation comes back, you're more social, you're not feeling as moody, the cramps are going away, you're just feeling more like yourself again. And this time, it's good to form new habits, to get active again if you weren't so active on your period, to get back into the things that motivate you, focus on school, focus on going outside with your friends, and just experiencing life because now you have the actual energy within yourself to do so. What helps you also stay in this good, energetic mindset and also health-wise is just what you're putting into your body. What you put into your body is also a huge effect on how your period goes moving forward and how you are affected when you come off of it. So if you're eating healthy foods, if you're putting into your body lettuce and salads, and you're eating vegetables and you're eating fruit and things like that, drinking enough water, when you're in your follicular phase, you will feel 10 times more better when you're coming out of your period and be prepared for when you're going into the next one. Because now your body is not only physically healthy, when you put healthy things into your body, it also makes your mind 10 times better. You'll also be able to think clearer. You'll also feel more energetic. And when you're more energetic, you'll have the motivation to do more things. So in the follicular phase is when you take the time to really lean in to your strengths, lean into what you can improve on. You had all these things written down while you were on your period, all these things that you journaled about, that you thought through. Now in the follicular phase is when you really put that stuff to work. You really put that pen to the paper and you really write down those things in the menstrual cycle. And then the next phase, you really take that goals that you had written down, those things you want to improve on, and actually put in the work to improve it. Make sure that you're hydrated well. Make sure that through each and every phase, we should be drinking water. I feel like, yes, okay, you could have a soda here and there, juice here and there, but water is one of the top things that you can do to improve your health and to improve your cycles. Ladies, we have to drink our water. I know it gets hard because when we're on our cycle, we want something sweet, we want something sour, we want a whole bunch of different stuff. But drinking water is not only going to make our cycle 10 times better, but our overall health 10 times better and give us that motivation that we need when we come out of it. And that follicular phase is where we really need to lean into that. I've been saying it this whole time. Lean in to your strengths. That's what's going to take you to the next level, because you already wrote everything down and now you're actually able to get it together and use that energy and motivation that you now have to go and live out your goals. After we have that burst of energy, that burst of motivation, we then go into our ovulation phase. Many of you know this as the phase where it's easier to conceive if you're trying to have children and things like that. However, most of us are young adults, so we may not be totally mentally nor financially ready or stable for that type of situation. My biggest thing is just know your body. If you know that you should not be having sexual intercourse, that you should not be risking yourself, like risking pregnancy, or that you have been at risk for pregnancy, especially in this time, in this phase, make sure that you are extremely careful in using protection. And that is because in this phase, estrogen peaks and ovary releases an egg. So when you're in ovulation, that's when your eggs are released. And that is the reason it is 10 times more easier to conceive a child. And in this phase, you're more confident, you're more energetic, you're more attractive, and you're more talkative, which is when you may want to start to get to know people. You may want to be a little flirty with people, but it's all about having self-control. I'm not going to lie, I'm going to say it straight up. Everyone gets horny. Everybody feels the type of way. However, it's about self-control. In this phase, your hormones are automatically going to make you want to do those type of things, or at least have the thoughts of doing those type of things. It's all about controlling yourself and being like, you know what? No. Not only do I have my worth instilled better than that, but I also know that that's not something I'm ready for right now if you are not. If you are ready to conceive a child, if you have your partner, if you're ready to build your life, this is the perfect time to talk about that, to go in and start having intercourse, to make a family that you want to make, because this is a time that it's actually easier to conceive. However, if you are not, just make sure that your protection is key. If you do decide to have intercourse with someone, make sure that you not only use condoms. There is a whole bunch of different birth control options. I know a lot of people do not believe in that, and if you are someone who doesn't believe in any form of protection, then I believe that you should not be having intercourse to begin with. It's all about making smarter choices, not only for ourselves, but for our futures. There are different ways of protection if you are interested. There is obviously the pill, there is the patch, there is the injection, and so much more. But of course, before you make any health decisions regarding your body, go over it with your primary care physician and discuss it with them first. This is also the time where it is better to fill your body with more anti-inflammatory foods, because it is better for your digestion. So that goes for like avocados, berries, and even nuts. This is a great time for strength training, which is either hitting the gym, working out, lifting weights, and just things like that to not only get your body more active, but also gain that strength. For businesswomen or businessmen, this is also the time that it is better to negotiate with people. Because your mind is also thinking better, you're also more social. You're not only to think things more thoroughly through, but you're able to negotiate things. You're able to communicate better. You're able to not only see others' perspectives, but also get your point across, because you're in a social environment, in a social mindset. And your body is also willing to want to be more social with people. And then also drinking water, like I said, in every phase is also an amazing tip to be hydrating your body. It's around now the 14 to 16 day mark. It lasts about 2 days ovulation. So just make sure that you're able to, 1, have self-control, 2, use protection, and 3, just fill your body and mind with positive, healthy things. And the last phase we're going to be discussing today is the luteal phase. Again, I hope I'm saying it correctly. Don't get mad at me if I'm not. It's usually the 17 to 28 day mark. And in this phase, progesterone rises and then drops. So usually you may be calm in the beginning of it and then get more tired, feel more irritable, and just, all the beginning symptoms of about to get your period. You may have some pre-cramps, you may have some pre-cravings. PMS is this cycle. You're about to get into your menstrual cycle, you're feeling all the emotions of it, but you're not exactly in it yet. You're not shedding yet, you're not having your blood come out yet. You're in that phase of just, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, everyone is pissing me off. In this phase, for me, this is the time that I take to really think about how I treat people and catch myself if I treat people not so nicely. because we're already easily irritated and easily getting like tired and frustrated, this is a time that we can take out our anger on other people. This is a time that we don't really have our emotions truly in check. So when you're going through this phase, it is important to also catch yourself before you come at people any type of way. Stop yourself before you disrespect someone. Stop yourself before you pull them down, push them down, or whatever to make yourself feel better or because you're so irritated with them. Give people a time to speak. And if you truly are getting to that point where you just can't deal, express that to them. Don't curse people out. Don't yell at them. Don't go off at them. Just take the time to explain what your body is going through. Of course, if you're at that level of comfortability. If not, just remove yourself from the situation. Because as women, it is important that we know how to control our emotions so that we are not seen in a way of, oh, yeah, she's a woman, so obviously she can't control her emotions. She's so sensitive. The last thing you want to be is labeled as something you're not. We all have the ability to control our emotions, all have the ability to know how to speak to people regardless of what stage and phase we are in. It's just about catching it ourselves and applying that moving forward and knowing that, you know what, just because I'm in this phase doesn't mean I have to treat people rudely. Doesn't mean I have to be yelling at people because I'm so over it. Apply yourself in the best ways possible, whether you're in your menstrual cycle phase or your ovulation phase. Things that can help you in the luteal phase are carbs. They help with your emotions, they help with your hormone levels, and just help put you in a better mood. Another is shifting to more gentle workouts. So maybe before you were doing heavy lifting and all of that stuff in the follicular phase or in the ovulation phase. So now we're gonna shift to a more light workout, whether that's yoga, maybe that's Pilates, whatever the case may be for you. Maybe that's just lowering a weight, but just getting ready to go into your menstrual cycle and not putting so much pressure on yourself. Another way is prioritizing sleep and reducing late nights. I know it's hard, especially if you're running a business or if you're in school or even different walks of life, to not stay up late. But staying up late affects us more than just our minds. It also affects our bodies physically. Without that proper rest, not only will we not feel good within ourselves, but all the things that we try to put our mind to will most of the time not succeed the way that we want it to because we're not fully and properly rested, which is going to make us crankier, moodier, and feel less good about ourselves and put us in a worse mood than we already are. And we don't want that in the luteal phase. We want to be able to feel like we're able to be above the hormones, be above the hormonal times, be above the anger, be above the irritation, and just be like, you know what, let it go, take deep breaths, and able to just move forward. And we can't do that, we can't think clearly like that if we don't get our proper rest. There's also a time that you should cut back on salt and sugar. I know that that's what we may be craving, especially I know me, when I'm on my premenstrual cycle, I just want my Lay's chips and they have like little lemon flavor to it. I want Sour Patch. I want all that type of stuff. But that is also what's going to bring on the worst type of cramp feelings and things like that. So it's important to also cut back on that. And when you do feel yourself feeling any of those cravings, just grab a glass of water, maybe grab a little juice, but not too much, just to like itch that urge, but not enough that it will affect your menstrual cycle to come. And lastly, practice boundaries. This is a part that also affects your mental because, like I said, while you're irritated, you're not thinking so much of how others are feeling, you're thinking about what's bothering you. This is a good point if you're not comfortable with able to tell people how you feel or what you're going through, to just set some boundaries and be like, hey, you know what? I'm just in my mood right now. I just want to be, by myself. I want to take my own time, have my own space, things like that. It's not necessarily disrespectful. It doesn't have to come off in a rude way. It's just something that you need to do for you to have a better menstrual cycle yourself, to not risk losing friendships, and to just have a better mindset going into it. These are all ways that you can get through your luteal phase and prepare yourself to go into your menstrual cycle. Us women do go through a lot. Our bodies are constantly changing. Our hormones are constantly elevating, and it's a lot. However, we decide how we let it affect us. We decide if we're going to let our hormones have the best of us, or are we going to put our foot down and still have the same cool-headed mind throughout. Especially if you're a woman in business the way that I am, you cannot lose your cool because you're on your period. You cannot break down crying because it's just that time of the month. You have to be able to get up and know how to control your emotions, which is what this podcast is all about. Understanding mental health, understanding yourself, and knowing what to do to take care of it. Building up your mental health is not something that's going to happen within a day. Rome was not built in a day. However, taking these steps, especially when it comes to your physical health, is what's going to help you strengthen your mental. So when it comes to those times where you are on your period, people can even tell the difference from when you are and when you aren't. And that's what you want. That is the true power. Because then they can't use that sensitivity against you. They can't be like, oh yeah, she's a woman, so when she's on her period, she's lazy. Oh yeah, she's a woman, so when she's about to get her period, she's more irritable and she's more like yelling at people and cursing them out for no reason. No, you want everyone to see you as level-headed, calm, moving gracefully, regardless of what phase it is that you're in. That's what's going to get you to the next level. That's what's going to elevate you. That's what's going to get you to a place where nobody even saw coming. Because not only are now you a strong, independent woman, but you're also a woman that knows how to control her emotions and does not let a period, something that we were born with, which is a gift. I know we may not see it like that, but it truly is a gift, because that's also what gives us the ability to carry children. Even if we don't want children, it is something that signifies us as women. Yes, we're going through all these things hormonally, mentally. However, you managing that emotion is what's putting you on top. It's showing that regardless of all these things you got going on, you're still able to put your foot down, get up at the end of the day, and make what you want for your life happen. And that's all that us women can do. So for today's journal, I'm going to challenge you guys to write down, when you're on your menstrual cycle, all the goals that you want to accomplish. Write down all the things that are going on in your life that you're thinking about, whether it's goal related, whether it's mindset related about being sad or whatever. Just write down everything you're feeling. Really think deep about it during that menstrual phase. And once you get out of it, look at the ways that you're now going about your life. Are you going about your life the same way that you did before? Or are you deciding to actually take those steps to no longer be in that position? Are you doing things that are going to better the cramps and the hormone levels the next time your period comes around? Or are you still eating salty foods and sugary items right before you get your period? I want you guys to really challenge yourselves and look at what you're putting into your body. Drink 4 bottles of water a day. Make sure you get 8 hours or more of rest. And just make sure that you're truly nourishing your body with the ways that are beneficial for your phases and your different cycles. Whether you're in the menstrual cycle, whether you're in the follicular cycle, whether you're in ovulation, or whether you're in luteal. Make sure you're catering to your body in every single way that it needs to be catered to. Your body does not control your mind. You do. Choose to put your foot down and choose to have that stand. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode. I love you all so much, and you are a strong, beautiful woman. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, babies.